Radio Free Skaro! Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 908. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Happy, I guess, in the United States, they're celebrating Memorial Day this weekend. Mm-hmm. So happy Memorial Day weekend, I guess. Hope you're enjoying the quote-unquote live-action Little Mermaid in the theaters. I guess that's the big release for this year. Not seeing too many.
I think it'll do very well. That's my bet.
Probably.
Well, it's not quite the same caliber, I realize, but the that live action remake of Lion King is somewhere near the top grossing movies of all time.
It made $1 zillion.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Kids who were kids when they saw the original probably paid a lot of money to go see that multiple times.
Oh yeah.
Trying to draw the magic out.
I don't know how much that I don't know how much the Emma Watson Beauty and the Beast made, but probably a killing as well.
Did it? I don't know. I don't
pay much attention.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Much of anything really anymore. So
no, I don't either. No, I don't either. But it's the beginning of the Bonanza Hollywood movie season. Here comes all the IP coming right at you, right down the pipe.
It really is a lot of IP.
Every single weekend.
What's the next Marvel film you're going to ignore, Stephen?
Goodness, I don't know. Is it the
That's
Marvels?
a good question. What is
that
the
the
next
new
Marvel
one?
film?
Is the Marvels the new one?
I believe so, but I don't remember when that is.
November. I want to say November.
Yeah,
it's coming
I think
out.
you're right. It's November.
Thanksgiving?
Probably Thanksgiving,
maybe?
actually. Same weekend, hopefully, is Doctor Who returns. Although, interestingly enough, this is a whole lot of news. A lot of Doomsday stuff, kids. Buckle up. Got some Doomsday stuff coming for you tonight. In Doctor Who magazine, because they announced the titles 2 weeks ago. Well, this is the first DWM since they announced that, and they had bits in there in the Gallifrey Guardian, and it says the Star Beast, that's the first Tennant special, is expected to air in November this year, but they don't mention anything about the other two, which I thought was kind of interesting. But, yeah. But if they were to say all three of them air in November, that would give the game away. So you can very accurately say, well, the Star Beast is in November. You can say that and get away with it.
Keeping it vague.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the RTD's column in the new Doctor Who magazine says November as well, I think.
Well, that is as I scan through this very I can't tell. It's a lot of words in front of me right now. When it comes to that, he talks about the titles and stuff, about what do we call them, working titles, everything else. So, and maybe he did, but anyway, he doesn't mention San Diego Comic-Con in there either, which I'm waiting on a daily basis to book my flight to San Diego to cover the convention and Doctor Who's place in it. I'm waiting for an official confirmation. This morning I even went back through previous tweets from the official Doctor Who BBC Twitter account to see when they announced it in the past. And 2018 was the last time they went, because pre-COVID and stuff, they did some at-home stuff. But 2018, the big reveal for Jodie Whittaker, they announced on June 14th, I think it was. So a little over a month out. So I'm hoping in the next few weeks that they'll say, yes, Doctor Who coming back to San Diego Comic-Con. Just Doctor Who, no one else, because everyone else in the area is on strike. And so it'll just be 3 Doctor Who panels in Hall H over the course of the weekend. I go, oh, God.
The only content is Doomsday.
Yeah, it's only Tuesday. That's right.
You know what I hear about? I think about when I hear that. You remember whenever there's a crowd scene at a meeting in The Simpsons and they just have silence and a guy coughs in the back? That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. We're dumping on Doomsday for some reason. Anyway, more about that. More about that, because they announced some details about that. But Indira Varma is coming back to Doctor Who, the Doctor Who universe, I should say. She was in Torchwood as Susie in the very first series of Torchwood. And then she went on to be in literally every single British television series ever made, as well as some high-profile genre stuff, or as my old boss used to say, genre. Genre.
Well, I know she was in Game of Thrones.
She was in Game of Thrones. She was in
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. I'm sure she's been in other stuff. Anyway, Indira Varma is going to be in Doctor Who. She will be playing the Duchess. Remember all these little hints and everyone's saying, "Oh, but beware the Duchess" and everything. And we just assumed that it was like Jinx Monsoon because this Duchess sort of started getting dropped in there as Jinx Monsoon was cast. It's not. Indira Varma is the Duchess.
I mean, Jinx's costume is very Duchessy.
Yeah, you would think. Here's the funny thing, though. So in our little text chat that we have, I posted, and so naturally we always joke about, this time it's Susan, right? This is Susan
or the Ronnie.
And then, I joked saying, actually, it's Duchess is in Hindi means Rani because Rani in Hindi means queen. And then I saw someone tweet, actually, it appears that Duchess is, Hindi is Rani, or something. I haven't confirmed that because I don't speak Hindi, of course.
Why are Doctor Who fans so fixated on these two characters?
I know.
For what reason do we do this to ourselves?
Makes sense,
if it means Rani, how is she going to be Susan?
That's a good point.
Why not both? That means Ronnie. The Ronnie was Susan back in the Seventh Doctor days.
The whole time.
Yep,
okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Gotcha.
Playing the long game. Pretending to. I mean, listen. If she can pretend to be Mel so convincingly as she was in Time of the Ronnie,
very much so.
She can quite clearly, for a couple hundred years, pretend to be the Doctor's granddaughter, just playing the long game, just dying to get back to Earth so she can study dinosaurs. Essentially, says, it's the 22nd century, but I guess
it wasn't ridiculous thrown together pantomime at all. It was all the long game.
Yep. So obviously, if they're announcing her now, they must be about to go into production with Indira Varma. I'm mildly amazed that they're still shooting stuff because they've been shooting for quite a while for 8 episodes of Doctor Who. So there's a lot of stuff going on here.
8 or 9?
Well, 9 if you count the quote unquote festive special. But I think which I think they're still. No, I think they must have shot that one. I think that I don't know. I've lost track.
I'm going to start a rumor with no basis in fact, which is that they are actually shooting the next Shooty Gatwa season right now under our noses. Which
shooting a back-to-back.
I just made that up.
Yeah.
I completely just made that up out of whole cloth.
To go back to that, to RTD's column in Doctor Who magazine, he mentions they're working on series 15.
They sure are.
Sorry, I think he says the 2024 series or
2025
series.
Yeah, they are. They definitely do say that. Yeah, and further than that, the script and legal departments at Bad Wolf are currently investigating whether we're allowed to use a certain title for episode 6 of the 2025 season. We're that far ahead.
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi. I'm really curious as to what episode 1 of the next series has the title "Unexpectedly Spoken Aloud" in Star Trek Picard season 3, which I find is fascinating. And I bet you it's just something inane. That's the thing. It's something. Totally
I know
inane.
what it is.
What is it?
The title is "A Dip Bleep from Chicago." That's what it is.
That'd be funny. It's like, how'd they guess? Those sleuths. Anyway, Indira Varma, back in Doctor Who, playing the Duchess at some point in many months' time. We will see her because they're shooting stuff that won't be aired until next year.
Months, years. It's all just nebulous down the road.
It is. It is indeed.
But it's information, which is something more than we got before. Right?
I know. It's I mean, I don't know when they planned on announcing it because it was sort of came out within Doctor Who magazine, but it being a magazine, you can never depend on people getting it all at the same time on the same day and stuff. So they often have to scoop Doctor Who magazine from their own announcements to say, actually there you go. It's Indira Varma, because they sort of dropped it like at 9 a.m. for us on a Monday, I think it was, or a Tuesday, I think, basically not too long before Doctor Who magazine came out. So yeah. Exciting times, exciting guest actors and shooting Doctor Who and everything. I wonder what outfit Shooty Gatwa was going to be wearing in this episode featuring Indira Varma.
Something flamboyant, I hope.
Probably none.
None at all.
His birthday suit.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would be.
I'll make people happy.
Yeah, hey, okay with that. This is all on Doctor Who Magazine 591, where they have it's Pride Month. June is coming up, so there's a whole Pride element to the magazine. There's a whole thing about a casting of Rose, Yasmin Finney in the magazine as well. Bunch of whole stuff. So some news. No confirmation about San Diego Comic-Con though, which is what I was looking for. Not that I was expecting to get a Doctor Who magazine, but whole bunch of stuff in there. Available from news merchants everywhere, or digitally, because that's where I get it from. We mentioned Doomsday. Y'all excited about Doomsday? Prepare for Doomsday, kids. They have announced some details about Doomsday, the multi-platform Doctor Who event featuring the last 24 hours in the life of one named Doom, played by Sooz Kempner. And this will start. This whole saga will begin on the Doomsday website and Doctor Who digital channels on June 5th, with the story's first hour and adventure, followed by the next 4 hours of Doom's final day in Doctor Who magazine from June 22nd, and then Titan Comics, East Side Games, because there's a game element, Penguin Random House, which is a book, BBC Audio, and Big Finish. And then countdown as Doom's Search for the Doctor continues before the final installment on Doctor Who digital channels in September. So, are you excited about Doomsday?
That's almost as long a day as a season of 24.
It's a lot. It's like 24 hours.
That's a general idea, yeah.
It's a long day, yeah. Go ahead, Warren.
You know how you have Marvel fatigue, and you have since probably the first phase of Marvel? I get... not Doomsday specific, because I don't know anything about it really, other than Sooz Kempner's in it.
Right.
I have transmedia fatigue. Whenever I see all that stuff that it looks like I'm going to have to do work figuring out,
it does feel like work.
I just nope out of it. I'm like, I probably won't put the work in. I never did with Time Lord Victorious, and I probably won't with this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Everybody worked on it.
It's not just the fact that it's like multi platform. It's also, for a lot of it anyway, is stuff that if you want to listen to it or consume it, you got to pay for it as well. So that can be a big commitment that not everyone's going to be willing to make.
There is a thing about that. You have to make it sort of accessible to, for people who haven't managed to catch absolutely everything. But I don't like that rewarding the fans. I hate that phrase because it feels like, you're making it expressly for them, essentially. But I suppose in many ways you are. And there's a cynical side to me when it says here you have to buy these 8 different things to get this whole thing, or you could just not worry about it.
I mean, stuff that's on like the Doctor Who websites or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine, that's there. In your case, anyway, Stephen, you're going to be buying Doctor Who magazine anyway, so the stuff that's in there, okay, fine. I don't tend to buy Big Finish stuff, so I'm gonna miss that. And so, I mean, I guess you could probably read once things are out, you can probably read a summary on Wikipedia or something.
So
at that point, why bother getting any of it? I don't know.
I hoard Big Finish. I get it, but I don't listen to it. I'm a Big Finish hoarder for some reason.
Right. And I'm not a reader of things. I just said the other night to Erica, I would like to read a book. Insofar that I would like to read a book. You
say it like it's some great challenge.
It is. I haven't read.
No, he doesn't say it like it is. It is a great challenge for him. Here's the thing. I completely share. I'm pretty sure me and Eric are in the same corner here of being absolutely disgusted with that statement.
Yeah, I haven't actually properly read a fiction book. Sorry, as a nonfiction, a fiction book in decades.
What is wrong with you, man? Whatever. You don't have to.
Exactly.
Enjoy what you enjoy.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like I'm so out of practice from reading fiction. I just feel like, how would I do this? It feels weird to me.
Grab one or two of the more recent, or even the new stuff coming out soon. Target novelizations. Yeah. Start there.
That's what I would sort of think.
Get back into it, and then move on to whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Here's what I'd like to say.
All right,
I don't want to cap on you for not reading, because whatever.
Yeah, thank you.
At the same time, you can't cap on me for reading, which you do all the time.
I always do that. Because it's just right. Warren sitting in the corner crying, reading a book, because what else do you do when you read?
Not really sure why you came up with that conclusion, but okay.
Cry from I'm reading a book, and it's so sad because I have to read a book. I don't know why that is, but
no, there's nothing sad about that. It's great. Reading a book means you're not interacting with other people, which I love.
That's true. It's funny. Just last night, I was just thinking, you know what? I haven't been to a stage play in years too, and I usually hate those. But I would be just intrigued to see what stage plays are like. I just feel like I'm in exploration mode, like I'm an alien who just came down to Earth and just like, what is this book thing you're talking about? And I would like to read a book just to see what humans feel when they read books. And now I want to watch a stage play, but like, you know, a well-produced stage play. I don't want to watch like people wearing black, you know, well, even then I remember going at the Citadel's, the theater here in Edmonton, folks. And I remember
the main one. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a school trip, many years when I was in school, and we watched like a Shakespeare play. I think it might've been Romeo and Juliet. I don't know, but it was like all like, there was no scenery and everyone was just wearing like black and white sweats, and this is dumb. What the hell is this crap?
I like how you're wearing your ignorance on your sleeve, like it's something to be proud of.
I am a little bit. I don't think there's a stage play element for Doomsday.
Saw a production there once upon a time of Julius Caesar, and it was all set at a beach.
See,
yeah, why not?
I don't know. I don't know if that would win me back to the theater to watch one play to see what humans feel when they go and watch theater. But
humans feel.
I know.
Humans.
I know. I don't understand it. Anyway. I don't know what so there's a comic, and we knew that. I don't know what the game element. I can't remember which game Eastside Games make. Is it that? It's not the one. That's not Doctor Who Unsolved Mysteries or whatever it's called now. They call it
it's
Hidden Mysteries.
It's the one
I can't remember what the name of it.
The one before?
Oh,
yeah, it's the one before.
I have it on my phone, Warren, and I forgot what it was.
Because you don't play it. Yeah.
I don't play the games even. I don't even play the games. So just so you know, it's not me just not reading books. I'm a Doctor Who fan, and I don't play a game, and I'm still looking for it. I'm looking for it on my phone.
Whatchamacallit, whatever
Doctor
heist thing. I played through that.
You did play through it. No,
there we go.
Doctor Who Lost in Time.
Lost in Time.
Lost in Time. I have that. I had to
download it again on my phone and look at the name, but
yeah. But there it is, and a cutscene plays. And maybe I didn't want to go to the cutscene. Anyway.
Here's the summary of that entire discussion.
All right.
We're three old, out-of-touch people. The end.
A little bit. And then, you know what? That's fine. That's perfect. Mm-hmm. I hope this, Doctor Who can be overwhelming sometimes, even for people who have been watching it for the past 40-plus years of their lives, as the three of us have been. So it is A-okay for people not to pay attention to this. And it's also A-okay for people to go, you know what? Let's do this. This is kind of fun and interesting. And I like that it plays out from June to September. It's not like something that is stretched out over like 18 months or something. I know they had to do that with Time Lord Victorious. It's like, okay, here's a map of where everything goes and how everything fits in because you needed it at that point. This feels kind of like it basically comes out in 3 chunks. June 5th on the website and digital channels, and then June 22nd, a bunch of stuff comes out. And so you can basically consume at your own rate, essentially, those 4 or 5 things, and then September, and it's done. I like that it's sort of truncated and there's sort of a definite timeline, so maybe it'll be easier to sort of follow along and get into it, and maybe it'll tie into the show in some way too. Who knows? Maybe Doom will show up and no, okay. Not at all? You don't think so?
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it.
She'll be in a cantina in the back. There'll be a space cantina, and Doom will be there. Oh, hi, Doctor. Thanks for saving my life and get me back home. And then she goes away.
It's one thing to throw something like Attack of the Grask on Red Button, where it's like a 10-minute.
I love that sentence in and of itself. By the way,
yeah, I know.
And you're it's a 10-minute thing or whatever, and you're done. Mm-hmm. Versus comics and games and Big Finish and DWM and whatever. I don't know. I mean, I just, yes, I'm old. Yes, I'm lazy. Mm-hmm. as are all three of us.
Yep,
exactly.
But I don't know. To me, that something like this, Time Lord Victorious, it's just a really big ask, and I'm just not there for it. I'm sorry.
On the other hand, we're not 17 and basting in TikToks, so which shows just how ignorant I am in the first place saying that. But
True.
But like kids probably have not only more of an attention span for this stuff, but a different one than we do. So maybe people know better than we do are making this stuff for them.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, we are not the audience for this.
No, absolutely not. So it's not really fair of us to say this is terrible. We don't know that.
Yeah.
Well, who is the audience for it though? I mean, it's not like expressly aimed for kids or anything like that. They're not.
Well, the flip side of this is that you could have a bunch of people working at the BBC who are 10, 15 years out of touch and still think transmedia is a thing, and it isn't. Like, that could also be true.
Right.
In fact, both things could be true.
Mm-hmm. One of the audio releases, though, is Doomsday 4 from Doomsday. I believe we talked about this many moons ago. I think when Chris dug up Amazon.
The title of it, yeah.
The title of it and nothing else. And now there's a cover and there's a vinyl release coming August 25th. So this is part of it. And with 4 different adventures on audio. Plus Ina, Barbara, Ice Warriors, Ood, and the Doctor all coming in this Doomsday. 4 from Doomsday. Get it 4 to Doomsday? That damn, yeah. So that comes out. So, and it looks, and you know, like all the collectible vinyl stuff, it's like translucent purple or something like that, which is cool.
Purple and blue.
Purple and blue.
Or sorry, 1 purple, 1 blue. 2
okay.
2 LPs.
Yeah. So that's part of it. Is the BBC. I imagine it'll come out also on other formats, but you can get the vinyl if you're a collector of that sort of thing. So, and that's coming out in August. So I imagine the audio version will come out, and then the vinyl version come out sometime after that. So we shall see. And Big Finish has a whole rundown of 4 different stories also coming out around that same time too. So it's all part of the thing. So June 20. Look out for June 22nd, kids, because that's basically Doomsday proper. I know it starts June 5th, but there's a whole bunch of stuff coming out on June 22nd, which will inundate you and enthrall you, unless you're us, apparently. But we'll see how it goes down. Also, for while we're there, Big Finish, Missy is back. Missy's back in Big Finish Doctor Who, and Big Finish Doctor Who hyphen unit : Nemesis semicolon Masters of Time, which is coming out in months in the future. June, July, I can't remember. I can't find it. I
think it's more of an M dash than a hyphen.
Is it? Oh, it's an M dash. That's right. With 4 different stories, one of which written by True Nemesis, written by Andrew Smith, a good friend Andrew Smith. So that's coming.
Isn't Andrew like one of the producers of the unit series?
Are you conflating that with his work on Star Cops?
I want to say he does both. Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, maybe if he's listening. Might be off on a run. Anyway, that's coming in July. Unit Nemesis Masters of Time. So with Missy, Michelle Gomez is always that's bankable. That's bankable right there. Michelle Gomez is awesome. So
Michelle Gomez, if you follow her on Instagram, is like crazy in the best possible way.
Oh yeah, she's always completely bananas. It's awesome.
It's always been, yeah. Delightful woman. I interviewed her on stage at Chicago TARDIS one year. It's great. She is great. Also for Torchwood, the Torchwood Soho team Ascend. February 2024 sees another installment in Torchwood Soho Ascension. You can pre-order that from Big Finish as well. So there you go. Hey, let's talk about some Metaverse stuff, baby. Yeah, BBC Studios is looking to bring Doctor Who and Top Gear and other marketable BBC content into virtual reality for a Metaverse experience in the sandbox coming up.
What is it I just said about out-of-touch executives, including Mark Zuckerberg?
Right. I don't use my VR goggles as much these days. I whenever I do, I'm exercising, which means I need to exercise more. But Go ahead, Warren.
I got a PlayStation 5, and I have zero interest in getting PSVR 2 goggles, which are apparently good, but I just don't care.
Right.
So like I know I'll spend $500, I'll screw around with it twice, and then I'll forget I have them. So why bother?
Yeah.
Why spend the money?
You know what? There's. I mean, I have to admit, I'm the size of the thing. Like I've Oculus. No, it's called Oculus. No, it's a MetaQuest now. I can't call it Oculus Quest. I have to rebrand it.
Same thing.
Yeah, and it feels like, you know what, in 5 years' time we're gonna look back at this thing like it's a 1980s cell phone. Think, what were we doing strapping these massive things onto our heads? And it feels like big and somewhat ungainly, and it's kind of put me off of it a little bit. And if they come out with a much more sleeker design that isn't like $3,000, I'd probably get it. So anyway.
Do you prefer it to your Google Cardboard or no?
Google That was a handy little thing.
That's at least cheap.
Yeah, it was $20. I wanted to see what VR was like. Yeah.
It's $20 or whatever.
Yeah, it's $20. You just put your phone in there and look at things. No, I like it. It's fine. It's fine. And there's some good games in it. I just haven't played it a lot recently because I'm busy playing GTA Online nonstop still.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Oh, what I do is I have my GTA guy sitting there making me money while I play Breath of the Wild because I want to play Tears of the Kingdom, but you got to play Breath of the Wild first.
Right.
So these are key important. What I say about being out of touch? I think I'm one game back, dicking around with video games.
Well, Breath of the Wild, I played in the early days of the pandemic when I had lots of time, and Tears of the Kingdom is a lot bigger. And
what is this? A Zelda game or something? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is huge to begin with. So,
Breath of the Wild is huge to begin with, but I played through it. Nearly 100%ed. I didn't get
better
all the
man
Korok.
than I. I'm stuck at the first
Korok
level,
seeds, but
hiding from some centaur or something.
Tears of the Kingdom is a lot bigger, and I just don't know if I have the time to put into that for 100 or 150 hours.
You certainly wouldn't have time to look through the sandbox. I don't even know what the sandbox is when it comes to VR stuff. So I'm gonna have to do some digging on that to see if I fire up the old MetaQuest and say what is the sandbox, but I don't know what it is yet. So that's how much of a relative
some
noob
sort of
I am.
Web3 platform thing.
Sure, you're already you're saying letters to me.
I'm not as up on Web3 stuff as I think I should be.
Nope.
Please never use the term Web3 again.
Yeah, Web3 is missing. It went
term,
missing in Nigeria. That's all I know about Web3. So anyway, but Doctor Who's going to be there, an official presence in the sandbox. The BBC Studios Metaverse space in the sandbox will launch later this year, apparently. So
you're just saying words at this point.
I am. I'm literally reading from the televisual.com.
So which Bored Ape is that? Like, what's going on?
I don't know. It's not. No, it's not NFT. We do not talk about Doctor Who NFTs here on this podcast.
Yeah, but we did not that long ago.
Yeah, I know. But we only mentioned it. We only were asking for directions on how to get away from there. That's why we were doing that for.
What was it? Something about BBC trademarking stuff.
Yeah, they trademarked a lot of stuff,
NFTs.
and one of them was an NFT logo. So, but why wouldn't you trademark it? It's like me going to every single social media site and just basically grabbing my username and then never posting anything. That's essentially what you're doing when you're trademarking stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. Why wouldn't you do that?
Right? It's like the Tripods. One of my favorite shows from the 1980s is based on the Tripods trilogy, which is a book series in the late 60s. And Disney owns the rights to it. And everyone thought that, oh, wow, they're going to make a Tripods movie. No, what they're doing is they basically bought it because War of the Worlds is kind of similar, or the Tripods is similar to the War of the Worlds, and that there's these massive tripod machines that come down and invade Earth. So in order to prevent someone making a copycat version of it, a.k.a. the Tripods, they buy up the rights to the copycat things, and so no one can make that. And that's why they have it.
Yeah.
So that's why you buy an NFT logo, because then some person's going to be out there and making a Doctor Who logo and making money off it. And now that we own the trademark of it in NFT form, you can't do that. So that's kind of what.
Also, you just enjoy wasting money by buying NFTs,
or more a case of being a new thing. Their existing trademarks maybe just don't cross over to that, and they have to take extra steps to protect their IP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Legalese, baby. Legal stuff. On this episode of Radio Free Skaro. Hey, did you see this? The Evil of the Daleks, a new novelization coming, told from the point of view from Jamie, is being released and is written by Frazer Hines. It's coming out October 26th. That's kind of cool because a large chunk of that story is basically the testing for the human factor in Jamie, and he's trying to he's working with and against Kemmel and going through this house and stuff and trying to determine what the human factor is. So it's right for a kind of first person novelization like this. So that's kind of interesting. It's coming out October 26th in both book form and in audiobook form. One would assume that Frazer Hines would be reading that as well because he's an actor and he's done stuff like this for decades. So that's cool. How interesting, don't you think?
Yeah. I don't know details, but there's something about there's a repeat of Evil of the Daleks at one point, and this new novelization is somehow based on that. I don't know what the differences are.
So it's based on I see what now. So basically, this isn't the retelling of the evil of the Daleks. This is basically the story of Jamie watching Zoe watching the evil of the Daleks at the end of the Wheel in Space and before the Dominators. Confusing. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the novelization of the summer repeat of the evil of the Daleks in 1968.
This is something to do with a repeat of evil.
That's what it is.
I'm kind of impressed because that is something.
Well, I might have just made that up, but I kind of like I think they should do that. I think they should have a novelization of like the 90-minute omnibus version of like the Sea Devils that aired when cricket was rained out sometime in 1973 or something. And we got to make a novelization of that.
See, going back to your previous discussion about wanting to read things, you would read the equivalent of a studio, 25 hours of studio footage, which is what that is.
Probably read that. Yeah. Honestly, they should novelize Planet of the Daleks and chop out episode 3 of that. And they should chop out like basically the omnibus version that we saw on PBS in the 80s. For some reason. Yeah. Doctor Who's in the city. No, he's not. He's not anymore. He's out of the city. You don't need to know why.
Why don't you work in publishing?
Yeah.
Novelization of Invasion of the Dinosaurs minus episode 1.
Just starts.
In black and white.
Just starts, yes. Suddenly the world was in color, and Doctor Who and Sarah Jane Smith found themselves in the back of Unit Truck. Yeah.
It just says on the bottom in bold print, this is in black and white. Think appropriately. Do not picture it in color in your mind.
You are doing it wrong. You are reading this book wrong.
You are reading improperly.
Yep.
You're imagining badly.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think Evil of the Daleks will succumb to any of those tropes that we just listed there. It's coming out October 26th. Hey, if you like first drafts of scripts, and they are always fascinating. Jamie Matheson has there's an interview with him in Doctor Who magazine. He and Jason Arnott have a conversation, but he's put out the first draft of Flatline, the very Doctor Who script which got him the gig of writing 2 further Doctor Who scripts, because he put that one in and says, "Wow, this is really good. You should write Mummy on the Orient Express as well." Oh, it's really good as well. His first draft is interesting because there's no Tiny TARDIS, there's no Dr. Clara, because when he first submitted it, he didn't know that it was going to be a Dr. Light episode, so they had to completely rework elements of that. But there are a whole bunch of stuff that is really interesting in that. So if you want to see the genesis and the evolution of Flatline, you can start now with the first draft of it from Jamie Matheson. There,
neato.
Yeah. Pretty interesting. Links in the show notes. RadioFreeScaro.com. I saw that on the newsletter, which sprung into action. I signed up for a newsletter for Jamie Matheson years ago, and it was like silent for years. And then suddenly in the last couple of months, it's like, oh, there's new stuff from Jamie Matheson. So that's pretty cool. You can, Illuminart 2 is a Doctor Who art book from Andrew Skilleter, a whole bunch of his Doctor Who art. He's put out, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, he's put out, obviously at least one of these because it's the second one, but there's been calendars and stuff of his art as well. But
he's done a yearly calendar for a while, yeah.
Yeah. But this is a new art book coming September 2023. You can pre-order it for the 60th anniversary. I don't know if you heard, but it is the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who this year. And so it's yeah, I know, it's sort of tying into that, but there's classic stuff there. I recognize the cover from Logopolis in there on the cover. So a whole bunch of different.
Sontaran Experiment. And
good stuff.
Notice the Child. And there's the Zygon in the corner there too. So
right, and some sketches and Vengeance on Varos and all sorts of stuff. Anyway, Doctor Who Target cover art in book form from Andrew Skilleter.
Zygon in the corner is my power ballad, by the way.
Zygon in the corner.
That's like when a metal band makes a ballad.
Right.
It's called Zygon in the corner. I'm not sure what their original songs were.
It's the original version from Peter, Paul, and Mary, right?
Exactly.
It is, yeah. They were a folk duo from 60 years ago. I love the Terraqueous distributors folks put together these sort of fake Doctor Who annuals, which are, they're made out of love, and they're sort of somewhat spoofs, but they're also not, and they're pretty cool. And they have a new one coming out for the 1997 Doctor Who annual. Which is kind of cool because it sort of covers like what a Doctor Who annual would have looked like in 1997, fresh off the success of the Doctor Who TV movie, which I just watched again in my pilgrimage Just this past week, I watched the Doctor Who TV movie again. So this feels kind of fresh now. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of stories, puzzles, features, comic strips, even a forward from Gary Russell in there as well. So
and 3 different covers apparently.
What? That's a lot of covers. Still, it's good, I guess.
That's stuff you got to read. That's 3 different things you got to read. What the
I
hell?
suppose, yeah, but it's all in support of Refuge, which is a charity for women and children against domestic violence. So it's a very good cause. So there we go. So feel free to participate and order this. It's for pre-order. It's coming out this week, May 30th. So links in the show notes if you want to look into getting a copy for yourself. Speaking of stuff that's coming down the pipe, would you look at this? Our good friend Neil Perryman, who of course had the blog, The Adventures with the Wife in Space. I don't remember how many years ago that was. It's leading up to the 50th though, I think. And anyway, he posted, he reformatted into books later on after that for each era. And now it's coming out again. A revised, an updated version is coming in November of 2023. Again, tying in with the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. Just announced this past week. Details to come soon, but there won't be a Kickstarter or anything like that, but you will be able to pre-order it in September for release in November. So Neil Perryman is good folk, and we love him here. And he was our entry into Doctor Who fandom and the world at large back at our first galley in 2009. So always happy.
In a way, yeah, sort of.
Always happy. Yeah, I know you lived in the UK, but for, it's
my entry to Doctor Who fandom was in the 80s with like Doctor Who clubs.
Okay, yeah, same here. But my re-entry, how about that?
We'll go with that. Yeah. So there. And one last thing before we get to the Timelash. 60 years of Doctor Who, a celebration of panels and more, curated by Delia Derbyshire Day and Toby Haydock, is happening July 23rd at Jodrell Bank. There's panels, as I said, curated by Toby Haydock with the Why We Love Doctor Who and Doctor Who Made Me. Stephen Gallagher will be there, and of course the Delia Derbyshire Day aspect of that will be the making of the original theme with Dick Mills and Mark Ayres. That is awesome.
That's cool.
As the Science of Doctor Who with Simon Guerrier, Jen Gupta, and Emma Alexander, and also Doctor Who in the Current Crisis, whatever that means. What do you mean crisis? It's the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who.
Caused Brexit. She caused Brexit. One of them caused Brexit.
Yeah, and very, very special guests. Radiophonic Workshop will be there as well. So that is cool. That's happening the same weekend as San Diego Comic-Con. So if you're not going to Comic-Con and you're in the UK at Jodrell Bank for Blue Dot, you can go to this. So
Here's what I'm hoping. The Radiophonic Workshop puts on a concert, and the crescendo, like the climactic moment, they drop a mannequin of Tom Baker in costume off Jodrell Bank onto the ground, and then he regenerates into a mannequin of Peter Davison.
Classic, Warren. I would love to see that.
The theater. What do you want from me? I'm a maestro.
Yeah. Why not? Anyway, links to the show notes to get tickets for that. Sounds like a pretty cool event over in the UK. All right, let's end this episode like we end all of our episodes for the time being with the Timelash. Look back through history in Doctor Who. This week, May 28th, Frank Cox was born, 1940, the late director of Episode 2 of The Edge of Destruction, so The Brink of Disaster, and the last 2 episodes of The Censorites. Frank Cox. Is that all he did? I think that's all he did for Doctor Who.
That's all he did.
Yeah. And yes, I did that from memory. What else happened? 1965. What happened, Chris? You want to read that out, or you want me to?
Verdi, we kind of touched on this last week, I think. Verdi Lambert agrees to a BBC request to expand Terry Nation's 4th Dalek story from 6 episodes to 12, on the condition that script editor Dennis Spooner is permitted to write half the episodes.
There you go.
From an outline composed by Nation.
Mm-hmm. An outline was basically the Daleks chase Doctor Who. That was his outline right there, pretty much.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah.
What an innovative work.
Yeah. And it basically was his 6th script as well. This is the Daleks chase Doctor Who. Fill in the rest. I'm off to Cancun.
The meddling monk back in.
Dennis Spooner said, "Well,
Spooner's contribution.
Yeah, it was his contribution. Yeah, The debut broadcast of The Savages, Episode 1 on BBC One happened May 28th, 1966. Of course, the first ever episode of Doctor Who that was something Episode 1. The end of individual episode story titles. Until Aliens of London, World War III.
Not Rose?
Well, that's true. Well, no, because, two-part, like multi-part stories. You know what I mean?
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
That's kind of
also, the beginning of the end for Stephen.
That's right.
Not you, Stephen. The other.
I was going to say, I'm really confused right now.
Yeah, I know, the other Stephen. Also, the resumption of telesnaps. Big thing. Given that this is the first story officially produced by Innes Lloyd, and says, the first thing we're going to do is write out Dodo. The second thing we're going to do is write out Stephen. The third thing we're going to do is get John Kira on the line and tell him to make those telesnaps again, because we're going to wipe these episodes right away, and we need a visual record of what they look like. And so that's what they did. Happy birthday to little-known actress Kylie Minogue. May 28th, 1968 is when she was born. She played Astrid Peth in Doctor Who and went on to a career of obscurity before and after that, only appearing in one Doctor Who episode.
Completely banished and denied by the gay
Neighbors,
community.
Doctor Who, and that's pretty much it.
She showed up in a cameo of Ghosts. There's a Ghost special segment for
that's true. Yep. Red Nose
Day? Yeah, Red Nose Day.
Question mark? Yeah.
Was it Red Nose Day? Red Nose Day is in March. Children in Need is November, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 pennies to the shilling, 20 shillings to the pound. Yeah, that's how it goes. Okay.
Yes. So what's half a crown?
Daleks. There. That's all. What happened May 29th? I'll tell you, kids. They recorded the censor rights. BBC Television Centre.
Wow.
Was that
how we make a big thing out of that?
Well, I don't remember what the history of recording stuff at BBC Television Centre, but this has to be close to one of the first things shot in BBC TV Centre. I don't, because they were mostly in Lime Grove.
Otherwise,
yeah. So it's notable for that. Don't at me. I know there's a Doctor Who magazine special edition where they had here's where they shot what and where, and I find it fascinating, but I haven't looked at it yet. So, anything else happen?
I'm going to jump all the way down to 1987.
Do it.
Birth of Pearl Mackie, who played Bill Potts.
Happy birthday, Pearl Mackie. Who's in that PBS show? Tom Jones. She's in that. It's on PBS. And she's great. She's great in Doctor Who. So. Also in 2009, May 29th, the BBC announces that Karen Gillan has been cast as a new companion in Doctor Who, currently named Lucy Sparrow. Interesting. The character will also be renamed Amy Pond, of course. Karen Gillan. Seen in those movies.
I wonder if there's ever initially supposed to be a link between Lucy Sparrow and Sally Sparrow, or Moffat just reused the name Sparrow when he wrote Blink.
Like RTD uses Jones and Smith and all over the place. Tyler's another favorite one.
Yeah.
And then Karen Gillan went on to become America's favorite robot.
That's right, her favorite blue robot. In those films that she's in. Nebula, is that her name?
Yep.
Got it right. How about that?
This is the one time that'll happen.
I'm amazed at myself, I gotta tell you. Anyway. I do want to put those May 29th, 1984. Recording for Attack of the Cybermen takes place in London and Hammersmith, Acton, and Ealing. Film location shooting for the beginning of season 22. The last time that Doctor Who would ever go start a production run without knowing that its future was in stake, because, of course, by the end of it, it says, I guess we're canceled. So, and of course, it meant Maurice Colburn walking around in a sharp suit on location sometime in London. All that stuff. Attack of the Cybermen. Bizarrely loved by at least Chris.
All three of us.
All three? Okay, I wasn't sure how.
And no one else, probably.
I adore it.
Liz Miles loves Attack of the Cybermen too, which she realizes that makes no sense. Though. Yeah, I know, but
I liken it to stay with me here, the Norm Macdonald film Dirty Work, which is not a good film.
Okay,
but it is a very funny film. Attack of the Cybermen is not a good series of episodes, but it is very fun.
I suppose fun. I never liked the crime, even as a kid, because for those that don't know, Attack of the Cybermen was the only story that I had on tape for the longest time, and so therefore it is far and away my most watched story of all time. Yeah. And even like me, like, here come the Cryons. Just like, this is where the story...
They're the Ewoks of 80s Doctor Who.
Yeah, it just bogs down, and there's 3 threads of exposition essentially happening.
They're annoying, their weird movements and voices are just, it's aggravating.
Just get me back to the Cybermen, right? And guns and shooting stuff, because this is what Doctor Who was all about to me back in those days. Of course.
If you ever want to write some alt history fic, Stephen,
all right,
you should take that scenario and just replace Attack of the Cybermen with Silver Nemesis.
Can I just do some etymology of what you just said there? If Stephen, the man who said, I would like to read a book,
yeah,
is he going to write alt history fic? I don't think so.
That's of his own life, maybe.
Yeah, it might be. If
you insist.
Or just maybe you should, because Warren, you got the action dollies, and you could
exactly. I'll make an action dolly tableau for you.
Yeah, thank you.
And you can act out his alt history fic.
Hey,
boy, a dream fulfilled. Thank you, Chris, for roping me into this.
now we're talking about
then
it.
I can click angry on more of your bookshelf doctors.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. And by the way, everybody, if you look at bookshelf doctors and you don't like it, please let me know. It makes me happy to see you don't like it.
Yeah, thumbs down, vote down. Give the thumbs down to Warren's contributions on Facebook. Yeah.
You know what I'll do? I'll just take them off Facebook. Problem solved.
Yeah. Anything else May 29th before I move on? You want to talk about? Take it as a no. May 30th, 1985, the Oilers win their second straight Stanley Cup, winning 8-3 over the Philadelphia Flyers. I know that date sticks out to me. What happened? Until 1977 is a big day. John Leeson is contracted for the Sunmakers. Remember, he's very early days in his Doctor Who life here. And Robert Holmes is commissioned to write it. How about that, Warren?
I love the Sunmakers so much. I just love it.
It's superb. It's very... I mean, Carnival of Monsters is kind of Robert Holmes beginning his subversiveness streak. But this is you can kind of tell he was a grumpy Tory and he hated taxes and that he was going to write about it.
But it's got what I love about that era of Doctor Who, which is it looks cheap as hell, but it's really well written and really well acted.
Yep.
And that adds up to something for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great. Love it. Love it to bits. Well done, Robert Holmes.
I wait season 15's Blu-ray set whenever that happens.
I know. I wonder what that's going to be. I wonder what... I know you often debate and guess about what, because it feels like it's been a while since a Tom Baker one has come out. It hasn't, but it just... Because what we have, 17 was the most recent one, right? I think.
Yes.
And that's 2 or 3. With 7 Tom Baker seasons, you kind of have to throw one in every 2 or 3 times, releases in order to spread them out as much as you can. So I feel like we got to have one coming soon.
More than a quarter of the total. Because there's going to be 27 if you count the Wilderness years, and 7 of those are Baker. So
that's true. That is true. Yeah, I look forward to seeing all of them, of course. But yeah, season 15 would be very exciting.
Maybe they'll redo Underworld.
I wonder if they could do that. They don't have the original.
No, don't do that. I never really liked Underworld, but now what I like about Underworld is how totally cheeseball it is, and how they tried their best. Damn it,
they did try their best. I wonder if you could actually, if you had the original footage, but I mean, it was all done live anyway. There was no post production. That was all the backgrounds were done live, basically. I wonder if you could actually improve the blue screen in a special edition version of Underworld. I don't know if that would be technically possible to make it any better than it already is, which is perfect, basically.
Or maybe paint out the Swarm and Invisible Enemy and replace it with something that looks
actually
cool.
Dare you? You're deliberately provoking me.
Yeah, yep. They'll just digitally insert roundels on all the disused hospital walls in the episodes 5 and 6 of the Invasion of Time, just to say they're still
with Underworld. Just have some enterprising young person, like Kieran Hyman, that kind of person. Not him, because I don't want to assign him this assignment. But somebody with that level of skill. Just have them take a scene from Underworld and then recomposite everything. Because you could theoretically cut out everybody who's green screened in and fix it, rotoscope it, right? Fairly, not easily, but you could do it just to see what it looked like. But I still want to go back to the original.
Oh yeah,
I don't want to curse anyone with having to redo everything, because it'll be like every other DVD or Blu-ray box set where I go, oh, those effects are cool, and then I go right back to the classic.
Yeah, me too.
Underworld episode 4, highest ratings of any episode that season.
Think about that. Think about that, Warren.
I don't know why I'm being focused on here, but okay.
That was the Underworld. I don't know why we got to Underworld because it's not part of this, but Underworld was the first story that had a gallery-only day on effects, post-production. All the effects for Doctor Who up until season 15 were all done basically as live. And we should do something in post-production, how about? And that's why the lasers look so good. Like the flying little lasers and the shields and stuff. It looks so cool. I love Underworld. Underworld. This is the Underworld Appreciative Podcast. If you don't like Underworld, please stay around. We don't want to annoy you.
I was going to say good, because I don't care about it. So I guess I'm sticking around then.
I know. Chris and I love
the
it.
Story, I still contend the story is like amongst the best out there ever.
Yeah. Like the story. Like you talking about the story.
Like the story, like the plot.
Yeah.
Well, and you don't have to justify anything, Chris. You can love the hell out of it. Yeah. I love the hell out of a lot of stuff that is a visual enemy is a perfect example. It's not great. I don't care. I love it.
I'm also a sucker for mythology from any number of regions.
Here we go. May 31st. Oilers win their third Stanley Cup in May 31st, 1987 by beating the Philadelphia Flyers 3-1 in Game 7. Linda Bellingham sadly left us a few years ago, but born May 31st, 1948. Of course, she played the Inquisitor in the Trial of the Time Lord. What else happened? Did I miss this last week? I think I might have. The debut broadcast of War Games Episode 7 was May 31st. I want to say last week, I think the Time Lords, the name the Time Lords is uttered in Episode 6. I think it's 6. The first time ever. By Vernon Dobchev. You mean he's calling his own people the Time Lords? That's the first time Time Lords is ever mentioned in Doctor Who.
Fandom went crazy and sent letters to each other.
Yeah, they did. Just in passing. It's like it happens in passing. It's so cool. What else? 2008. I should mention this. May 31st, 2008. Debut broadcast of Silence in the Library on BBC One. This is the first episode that we knew that was going to be written by the new showrunner of Doctor Who, because it was announced like the week leading up to that Stephen Moffat was taking over. And Chris, you like this episode, you say?
I adore Silence in the Library. I just happen to hate Forest of the Dead.
Specifically Silence in the Library. Yeah.
I just remember...
As we've talked about ad nauseum in the past, that's one good thing about a lot of Moffat two-parters is part 1 and part 2 are so dramatically different that you can actually make distinctions like that.
That's true.
I just remember there being a series of okay but not great stories before that, and me going, is Doctor Who getting... Oh, it is getting better. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, there was a marked like I remember just the opening scenes of Silence in the Library just felt like mystical and magical, and like the little girls like sort of floating in the library. Goes, oh, what is this about? What is happening?
Yeah, exactly.
Here?
Instantly, you're like, okay, I'm roped into whatever the hell is going on here.
Yeah. I don't remember what was so annoying about Forest of the Dead that was so...
it was fine, yeah.
Made you cross.
I love the ending.
Yeah, had River Song in it now. I feel like I haven't watched that story since.
Well, you will soon.
Yeah.
Given your pilgrimage.
I will,
I
don't
think I've seen it since buying the Tenant Blu-ray set.
Yeah, but even then, I don't think I watched all the episodes, because I just sort of like, I've seen them before. I don't need to watch them again. And I don't think I've watched that first River Song story again since the end of the River Song saga.
I watched it a few years ago. It still holds up.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to watch. But as you say,
also,
I'll watch it soon.
One of Elon Musk's wives is in it, which is very strange.
That's true. Who is that?
What's her name?
Foxes.
The warped, crazy face.
Oh, no. The one who played...
Miss Evangelista.
Yeah, Miss Evangelista.
Yes,
that's right. Oh, that's bizarre. That's weird. That's weird and dumb. Also, Ray Bloody Purchase is in it as well.
That's true. He is.
Wow. What an episode. Silence in the Library. This day in history, May 31st, 2008. let's move on. How about to June 1st? Happy June 1st. Pittsburgh Penguins win their second Stanley Cup.
Happy 1 month to Canada Day.
First ever NHL game played in June. June 1st, 1967, Deborah Watling is contracted for the Tomb of the Cybermen. They liked her so much in The Evil of the Daleks. I'll tell you what, we'll give you another 4 episodes and see how you like it then. So, there. Anything else you want to mention that happened June 1st, this day in history?
Yeah. My mistaken, Debbie broadcasted Planet of the Spiders episode 5. Isn't that with all the chases and stuff?
No, that's episode 2.
That's 2. Okay, my bad.
That is episode 2. Episode 5 is mostly episode 6. That's what, basically, because they had to take out so much that, actually, episode 6 is mostly episode 5, let's face it. There's only about 12 minutes of new content in episode 6. Spoiler alert.
Couple other big things on the 1st of June there.
What do you got?
1986, Eric Sayward withdraws permission for use of his script for The Trial of a Time Lord, episode 14.
Wow.
Not today, thank you.
Pip and Jane.
Yeah. What a sad time, because Robert Holmes had died, May 24th, I think. And you know, Sayward is sort of like, you know, I'm going to honor Robert Holmes' memory and bring home Trial of a Time Lord the way that he wanted to do it, and then says, no, this is ending too much on a down note. We're going to change it. And so Sayward says, fine, no episode 14 for you then. Bring in Pip and Jane Baker. See if I care. And so they brought in Pip and Jane Baker.
And did he care?
No. Didn't care much at all.
2013, the BBC announces that Matt Smith will leave Doctor Who following the Christmas special.
Man. That was sad.
Sad.
Yeah. Remember every single Doctor Who where we think, oh, this is going to be the Doctor that stays 7 years to match Tom Baker's record.
Nope. Well, who lasted longest for just in sheer terms of chronological time? It wasn't Jodie, was it?
Actually, proper chronological time, not counting number of episodes.
That's what I mean.
It's Jodie Whittaker.
I think it is. Yeah,
because she was there for like 5 years, and for all of 31 episodes over the course of those 5 years.
It doesn't really line up, but yeah.
No,
Sylvester McCoy was up there as well.
Yep, technically McCoy was the running. So also McGann was technically 9 years.
Mm-hmm. That's really stretching.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But if you're looking at, proper, if you're counting handoffs that you need to have an official handoff, then technically it's incumbent. He was incumbent.
Well, here's the thing: if you're going to fudge things, Tom Baker's still the GOAT because he got more Big Finish episodes than he did proper episodes of his own, and he already had the most. So.
That's true. Yeah.
Or do you go from Robot in 1974 to Day of the Doctor in 2013?
Yeah.
Is he Tom Baker there? He's not the fourth Doctor. This is really stupid. I just want to point out how dumb this is.
It's dumb. Do you count it as a continuous run? I mean, it says, Doctor Who is 60th anniversary, but really, it's
an interrupted one.
Yeah.
We're not very far away from the very thing we criticize this list for, calling things season 34 or whatever. So, are we really doing anything different right now? No, we're not.
That's true. I forget how they announced that Matt Smith was leaving. It's not like they have, a live TV special saying that I'm leaving. I think it was just sort of says, oh yeah, Matt's. I remember Jodie Whittaker says, yep, Jodie Whittaker, Christian will leaving. It was just a press release.
Yeah, it's just a news release or something.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
and I think Capaldi broke the news on a radio show. Yeah, broke it on a radio show. I think. Yeah, which might have jumped the gun.
Or something else. I can't recall.
Joe Ball? What's her name? Zoe Ball.
Joe Ball.
Joe Ball.
I always find that amazing because Britain has this incredibly rich radio culture that we do not. And
I know.
States.
I know. I remember, I don't know if you remember this, Warren, but when we were driving to Cardiff early that morning, and Peter Capaldi just happened to be on BBC Radio at the time.
Yep. It was weird. It was out of nowhere.
It was such a novel experience.
What's happening here?
Yeah, it was such a novel experience for us. What's normal to you, British people, amazes us because we were just like, oh my God, Doctor Who's on the radio right now and he's live? What?
There's radio programs that are interesting. What's happening?
I don't understand this at all.
It's not endless classic hits. What's going on?
Yeah.
And what time of day was it, Stephen, when you stayed up super late to phone in for a David Tennant radio
and
appearance?
Then barked at them?
I know. I remember that was, those are early days. That was
2009, something like that?
Maybe 2008. I remember that. I think I still have a recording of that somewhere. technical.
I did for a while, but
yeah.
I don't know if I still do.
I think it's bootleg somewhere. I don't remember any of.
It's a bootleg of a radio appearance.
Yeah, it was like
you bootlegged yourself. It's like, how is that possible?
2 or 3 in the morning. It was ridiculous. Somehow I got through, and I don't remember what the whole context of it was.
I have a question for you. Were you single at the time?
No, but
that's surprising.
I know.
He was with his previous partner.
Yeah.
Because it seems like the sort of thing a single person, and I count myself as one of those, would do.
Yeah. Oh, those are heady days. I don't remember what that was for, but yeah, I phoned in, and because I was from Canada, I said, okay, we'll put him through. And I think I asked a question to David Tennant, I think, and on the air. I'm not counting that. Listen, since that point, I've gone on to interview 5 different doctors. I'm not counting
numerous
that.
times over, so yeah.
I'm not counting that as 6. I'm not notching that bedpost. I interviewed David. No, I didn't interview David Tennant.
It sounds like you're not notching.
No, because like I think someone basically saying paper or plastic at like Tesco's would be like, well, technically I've interviewed Dave Tennant because I asked him if he wanted paper or plastic grocery bags, and that doesn't count either. So no, I'm not counting that. What a weird time.
Everything is canon, if you want it to be.
Radio Free Skaro canon. Nope, technically, mark that down. What if I shout something at him? If I ask him a question and he doesn't answer, he's just avoiding the question. No, he just didn't hear you, you idiot.
Hey, you with the good hair.
Yeah. I don't know how we got on this, but anyway, Matt Smith announced he was not leaving Doctor Who June 1st, 2013, which would make Day of the Doctor his penultimate Doctor Who story. So, which is too bad because he was a good Doctor Who. June 2nd, things are getting a little quiet here in Doctor Who history land for what it's worth. But the debut broadcast of Family of Blood on BBC One, 2007. Yep, it's very good stuff. So, and the debut broadcast of The Green Death episode 3, probably some ropey CG in 1973 on June 2nd. So
CG,
CSO,
impressive.
Geez. What's going on with me? Yeah.
I love it when people talk about CG about 70s and 80s stuff, though. Yeah, I see people who've only used CG because they're younger.
Yeah.
Who only use CG as a term, so they're like, the CG in Star Wars A New Hope is terrible. I'm like, well, I guess that's a bad example because they did throw in CG, but let's say silent running. That's not CG.
So, honestly, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, but I was going to cite 2015.
All right.
Recording for the Zygon Invasion. Not because of the recording, but because... Speaking of things we saw live that were new and crazy to us, that's the 2 episodes we saw in England live.
Actual Doctor Who live, yeah. Exciting times. Back in 2015, the crazy space year of 2015. You know, it's weird, Warren, because both of us will be in the UK again next year for Worldcon at Glasgow in August. It almost lines up. I think we'll be a few numbers short. But we coincidentally, episode 500 of RFS happened when we were in the UK, and it almost works out that our 1000th episode would be in the UK. But I don't think, only if we release about like 20 episodes before, like, you know, and here's a weekly episodes. Our daily episodes, basically, just so we get to 1,000 when we're in.
I have a modest proposal. We're just going to interview every single filker at Worldcon we can. Nothing to do with Doctor Who, and make those into our fluff episodes that we tell people not to listen to.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
these are only here to hew to our own stupid numbering system.
Yeah, free to everyone too. Yeah, we would charge Patreon supporters.
We would pay people for those.
Here's our 7
anybody
minute...
actually listens to a Filk episode that's unaffiliated with Doctor Who. I should pay you, frankly.
7-minute episode of someone playing Filk on the podcast. Well, that's episode
953. Ignoring, not paying attention or being good interviewers at all. Yeah, whatever. just brushing them off as we interview them.
I'm already just making up the episode graphic. Don't worry, this isn't going anywhere. Anyway,
time to wrap up for June 3rd here, I think.
June 3rd. What's happening June 3rd, Chris? What do you want to talk about June 3rd?
Oh, good question. I don't know.
I thought you were...
Robert Holmes commissioned to write Spearhead from Space.
He's commissioned to write a lot of stuff around this time of year. Yeah. Did Crotons before. Sunmakers, now Spearhead from Space, which is really great. Love Spearhead from Space. Debut broadcast of The Time Monster, episode 3. Everyone's favorite. Everyone loves The Time Monster. That happened. So this is interesting. June 3rd, 1988. The asbestos problem at BBC Television Centre forces the cancellation of the second studio session for the Greatest Show in the Galaxy, scheduled for June 15th and 16th. But permission has now been granted for the serial to be completed in a tent erected on a parking lot at BBC Elstree, which is perfect because the whole story is set in a tent, and so why not film it?
Kind of
in
brilliant,
a tent?
actually. Yeah.
Yep. If it was any other story, it would be tough to do. But what fortuitous timing. For the thing that's made in a tent to be shot in a tent.
Given the asbestos was put there by design,
right?
Is it really a problem?
Yes,
that's a good point. You know, like, oh my God, there's asbestos.
The asbestos situation.
Yeah,
perhaps,
like it didn't
presence.
It didn't like it was there to be, as you say, it was there to begin with. It didn't come up by mistake.
Yeah, but it's a problem because it kills people. So that's a problem by definition.
So.
Trying to be funny, gosh darn it.
I know.
Moving on to 2006 debut broadcast of The Impossible Planet.
Oh
Aliens.
my God.
It's pretty damn good.
Oh, that was an intense viewing
Toby.
experience. Yeah.
Toby.
Don't turn around. No, we don't
Three
turn
golds.
around. Yeah.
One of his many finest hours.
Oh my goodness.
No, whoever it was, RTD or whoever it was that had the idea to hire Gabriel Wolf. Oh.
Yeah. I wonder who would have done that. I wonder who's was it Andy Pryor?
I don't know if to this day, I don't know if we know who's responsible.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to credit RTD because
Yeah,
that seems like
he's
the kind of
got-
thing he
yeah,
would
he
come
seems
up
like-
with.
yeah.
and Phil Collinson.
Exactly.
Phil Collinson would have been in on that too, I suppose. You know, we got to get Sutek in there. Oh God, it's such a good episode. I mean, Satan Pit's really good too, but Impossible Planet is just. I still remember. I've said this story a lot. I remember that my calves were sore after watching that because I realized that my legs were tensed up so much that I was basically sitting on tiptoe for the last 5 to 10 minutes of that because it was so intense.
That
episode.
scene where is it Scooty? I can't remember her name. Similar name to that. The woman who's drifting off into the black hole. Where the music picks up. That's
Scooty. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Sounds
That's
right.
a brilliant scene. Like I was watching this going, oh, there are moments when the show transcends itself. I just saw one of them. Like that just is so well put together. The music, it all comes together so well.
Oh God, it's such a good episode. Yeah.
I also distinctly remember the confidential for that featured a big chunk about shooting that scene in a water tank.
It's a water tank, yeah. Slow-mo stuff and all that. That's right. They scheduled as I don't know if this was intentional. If they decided, you know what, this is going out close to June 6, 2006, 666 Devil, all that stuff, and you know, there was all that sort of stuff sprinkled in throughout that. They even used the weirdest connection was the Ravel's Bolero, which is the music that I can't remember who they are. The British figure skating duo in 1984, the Olympics got like perfect sixes. Torval and Dean got perfect sixes too. Like there were so many tie-ins to 666 in that episode. It was just like,
I always thought Torval and Dean were Canadian. Don't ask me why.
No, they weren't. They're British figure skaters. Anyway, Impossible Planet. Satan Pit. I think I love Waters of Mars, but no, I think Impossible Planet, Satan Pit is my favorite story from the entirety of the RTD era, right there.
Well, I can't make that claim, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah, it's so good. So good. So let's wrap it up there. How about? We don't need to know anything else about other recording dates because let's end on a high. That's how we do it here on this podcast. Like Doomsday. Oh, we'll be talking all about Doomsday next week, I think, isn't it? No, it'll be Doomsday Eve next week because it'll come out like the Monday. So we'll be it will be so out of date that we won't be able to put anything in regards to Doomsday out on the podcast. We'll have to break in, have to do a special insert for all the.
I'm going to put up the Apple keynote and Doomsday at the same time and see if they match up, like the Wizard of Oz and Pink Floyd.
Sync them up with your new goggles and stuff. So anyway, we'll be back.
Dark Side of the Doom.
Yeah, we'll be back something next week. Tell you what, though, a little inside information. We're recording a commentary for Modern Undead right after this, and that'll show up on your Patreon feed next week as well. All 4 episodes of that. So, and sometime in the future. Maybe a week later if Doomsday doesn't quite hold down an entire episode for this, we'll see. But yeah, so that's coming for our Patreon supporters later on. So Anyway, until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.